Welcome to another episode of Simply Cooking with Ken Thompson. On today's episode, we're going to make some baked beans from an old family recipe of mine. I think you'll enjoy it. Stay tuned and see how it comes out. Okay, so here are the ingredients for today's recipe for baked beans. This is a recipe that's been in my family for generations. It turns out really good and tasty, and I think you'll like it too. It's a little unconventional. We start with 3 different types of beans. We have pinto beans, we have large butter beans, also known as large lima beans or lima grands. We also have great northern beans. Along with that, we have a can of tomato soup, some dry mustard, some chopped onion, some dark brown sugar, and of course, everything's better with bacon. So, there's a little bit of prep involved here. The first thing I'm going to be needing to do is to drain the liquid off of the beans, but I'm going to keep that because I'll be putting some back in to get the right consistency. So, let me get these things squared away and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Everything has been prepped. Oh, and by the way, did I remember to tell you that this was a pretty simple recipe? Because right now, we don't have a whole lot to do except put everything in the bowl. So, 1 can of Great Northerns, 1 can of pinto beans, 1 can of large butter beans, 1 can of condensed tomato soup. And by the way, I know I've mentioned this before, but these silicone spatulas are a godsend in the kitchen. Great for all kinds of things. If you don't have some, pick them up. They're available most places. Okay, now that we got that in, I'm going to go ahead and just mix that in a little bit. Not a whole lot to start. Okay. So after we mix that in a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and add my dry mustard. Spread it around a little bit. I'm going to add my dark brown sugar. Now, if you don't have dark brown sugar, that's okay. You can use light brown sugar. And if you have a little molasses, well, add a little bit of molasses in there, and that'll make up for the lack of dark brown sugar, because after all, brown sugar is really nothing more than white sugar mixed with molasses. And whether it's dark or light just depends on how much molasses was mixed in. You can make your own at home. I don't really recommend it. Tried it one time. It worked fine. It just takes a lot of mixing. Okay, this is about 1 medium onion chopped. So we'll just pop that in there. Okay, and we mix all that up. Like I said, pretty simple. Now at this point is where we decide whether or not we're going to put any of the liquid back in from the beans. You see, some people like their beans a little more soupy, some people like them a little more dry. These are going to dry up some when you're baking. So, take that into account, and remember that if you like them a little more soupy, then you'll probably have to add some of the bean liquid back in. Personally, I like mine a little bit more soupy than what this is going to turn out to be. If I bake this off right now, they're going to come out fairly dry. So I'm going to add some of my reserved liquid from the beans back in. I'm not going to put it all in. Okay, this is starting to look pretty good. The consistency we've got here is about like so. And like I say, you could still add more in. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to. because I know that this does bake off a lot of that liquid. Well, I wouldn't say it bakes it off as much as it just kind of dries out a little bit as it bakes. The more liquid you put in, the less dry they are, of course. So you can experiment with it. If they come out too dry, next time don't put as much, or put a little more liquid in. If they come out too wet, well, then reduce. But all in all, so far, this recipe has been very simple. Okay, we are ready for our next step. Okay, so I'm back. As you can see so far, not a whole lot of work involved here. The next part's pretty simple too. We're just going to take our beans and we're going to pour it into a cast iron skillet. That's what we usually do. I think it makes a pretty good presentation. But you don't have to use this. You could use any baking dish that you happen to have. Or if you were going to some sort of a social event where you may end up losing your precious cookware, you might use a disposable. Any of these will work just fine. Okay, there we go. Now doesn't that look good? Okay, so far so good. The next part is, of course, the best part, bacon. So I've got some strips of bacon here, and we simply lay them across the top. Okay. Now you can either do one of two things. When you get down like this, you can go like so. What I like to do to make it look nice, you don't have to, you can just fold it over. I like to take a good old pair of kitchen scissors and cut off the excess bacon. Okay. Well, I'm not going to throw it away though, don't you worry. Bacon has a lot of uses, and I would never throw away good bacon. As a matter of fact, you could always just use the small pieces that we've cut off at the ends. Uh-oh, doesn't want to let go, but that's okay. We've got it. And yes, kitchen scissors are very, very handy. As you can see, what we got there, we're just going to cover the whole thing up with bacon. Okay, that, and you know what? Let's put that right there. Okay, so now we've covered our top with bacon. The next step is very simple. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees, put this in the oven for about 1 hour, and it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in there now, and I will be back and let you know what it looks like when we're finished. Okay folks, so there you have it. I just pulled this out of the oven a few minutes ago. I was going to let it cool off a little bit longer, but we're getting ready for dinner here soon, so I'm going to go ahead and spoon a little bit out. See here, you got your bacon. You got your beans. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Let's take these and put them in a bowl. As I say, I like them a little bit soupy. Ooh, lots of bacon in there too. You don't have to make it this soupy. Like I said, just remember you don't have to add back in that much of the liquid, but that's entirely up to you. Just depends on how you like it. Anyway, this is a wonderful, wonderful dish. Like I said, my family's been making this for many generations now. And that tastes so good. And you know, if you like recipes like this and watching these things, I try to make mostly simple recipes. They won't always be, but I would appreciate it if you would just click on the subscribe button below. And turn on the notification bell if you want to see when I make new things. I've got a few more in the works right now. Getting ready to have some fun and cook some more things and show you how I do it. And if you do make this, please leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Or even if you think that maybe this isn't for you or something you might want to try, leave me a comment. I'll try to respond as quickly as I can. And again, thank you for watching. I hope you subscribe. I hope you liked the video. Do appreciate you watching. And thank you again from Simply Cooking with Ken Thompson. Bye-bye.